Hello. Today I'll be explaining the proof of God's existence, or how he responds back. I've talked about this before, several times before, but I would like to mention this again about how God responds back. And I've included a secular and non-secular section. The secular section is just trying to keep this as factual as I can. So what you really want to do if you want to prove a point is to give a series of facts that lead up to the conclusion, in this case, that God can respond back. So, starting off, if one opens up their heart, this is metaphorical in the best way I can explain this. Everyone knows what a guilty conscience feels like in their mind. So everyone knows how this feels. It's uncomfortable when they have that guilty conscience. Everyone has experienced that. Even about past immorality committed. So you can get a guilty conscience of what is not based on morality as well. So you will also get that uncomfortable sensation about cussing on one's own, getting drunk, bowing down to other guys, or dealing with the occult. Just do all four. And recently I've talked about how homosexuality can be put into this as being not based upon morality, but God will push that uncomfortable sensation in the mind if homosexuality is committed. So that should also be included as well, if enough people do that and understand what I've talked about in the previous video about homosexuality. And so check out that video. So you'll get a guilty conscience if you commit those four above. And then you gotta explain, why are you getting that guilty conscience? If you blatantly continue in immorality for a month, bad events not associated with your immorality will increase. So four above. I've talked about that before, and we'll talk about that in more details. So this is also really important. You can get this almost immediately. So if you think about an immorality in your mind, and before you even act on that immorality, you will receive a guilty conscience of that immorality in your mind. And also you will receive that immorality in your mind of any unconfessed sins that are in that guilty conscience label in the mind. Yeah. So that's another way. And guilty conscience, yeah. I talked about that before. So if one receives a guilty conscience of what is not based on morality, such as cussing on one's own, getting drunk, bowing down to other gods, or dealing with the occult, this is the first statement. If one blatantly continues in immorality for a month, bad events not associated with your sins or immorality will increase. So the intensity or quantity of bad events will increase. So this includes essentially what's not based on morality. So these are the two statements that we have. And so if both of those are true, then this can show that someone or something is intervening in your life. Because the logic of statement 1 and statement 2 should not be there. So a better way to say this logic is occurring. So if statement 1 and statement 2, then then your life will get worse, bad events will increase. Significant bad events will increase. Enough people need to do statement 1 and statement 2. Yeah. I talked about that before. And I talked about this. If you blatantly continue in immorality for a month, that is not associated with your immorality will increase. And if it's associated, then just ignore it because it's a bias. Write down all the bad events that happened during those first months. So it's very important to put it in a journal, to write down all the bad events. And then your control is going to be your second month, where you write down all the bad events that happen while you're not continuing in sin. So if you do that, you will see a difference between the first month and the second month. Yeah, that will happen. So Thus, there's someone or something intervening to make this logic happen. Yeah. Yeah, so immorality is casually God. Yeah. Therefore, God is against sin. So that's how I prove if statement 1 and statement 2 is true, that people individually need to do on their own. And if enough people do this and confirm with me that this is happening, then we can say without any doubt that God is against sin. So this narrows God down to the one who is against sin. So we have a few gods that are associated that are against sin. So you have a generic God that's against sin, God of the Jews, God of the Quran, God of Jesus, or you I am the one who is Jesus Christ. And I talked about this before. You can make fun of other gods, all of them, and or one of them each first week, and see if your life is getting worse as you make fun of the God of the Quran for 1 week, while not continuing in sin, God of Jesus, Trinity God. Yeah. I have not made fun of the God of the Jews. I have made fun of the I am, the one who is in Jesus Christ, one time, and my life became significantly worse the next day. But that was only one time. I need to do that more times. But yeah, so the best way is to have a prophet yield to a spirit, and that spirit is talking about his/her sins. And then that spirit is going to state, okay, I am the God of the Jews, or I am the one who sent Jesus Christ, or I'm the generic God that's against sin, or something like that. So if prophecy is true today, that has to happen, and we just haven't seen that happen yet. So yeah, so you make fun of Synagogue Jesus for a week, your life will get worse. Yeah, I haven't done this enough. I'm not going to do this anymore. But other people can. I suggest doing that for 2 weeks, but there's got to be a better way to prove his name. So I don't know. Yeah, so believing that God is the I am, the monotheistic God of the Bible for 2 weeks, and your life will not get worse. Essentially, if you are believing in a God, the wrong God, you're not going to be blessed by God. So if you suddenly believe in, this God, for example, and that's the wrong God to believe in, then your life should be getting worse as you're believing in this God for 2 weeks. But I've been believing in the I am, the monotheistic God of the Bible for almost a year now, and ever since I started doing that, which was March of last year, my life has improved. So it's not getting worse. It has improved since I believed in the I am, the monotheistic God of the Bible, for about a year now. And this is a non-secular section, but this is the best, minimal bias. And I have another section. Let me pull that over real quick. So yeah, so that's how you prove or who God is, how he responds back, how he's against sin. And so I'll keep on saying that. I've talked about this before. So if a person has photographic memory, they can recall in their past if they're continuing in sin, if they start doing that, especially if the sin is up there, then their life should significantly be getting worse shortly thereafter. And one can confirm this on their own right now. But I'm sure someone with photographic memory can do that too. And these are disasters in the United States that's happened over time. Recently, we had massive layoff from Amazon, Meta, and Twitter. And you can see that everything is getting worse as time progresses. So So this is not the God of Jesus. This is not like, rainbow and sunshine. This is death and disasters from God. I've proven that bad events will increase significantly if one blatantly continues in sin. So this is not like a joke. This is to be taken seriously. So, yeah. Yeah, I talked about that, yeah. I've talked about this before, so one in the flesh, generally go into details about that. But, so God is against sin. He'll make his slash her life worse if they continue in sin. So if people understand this, that this is God, he essentially wants us to do what is long-term beneficial for us. By not continuing in sin, he wants us to do what is long-term beneficial for us individually, for humanity. We need to stop continuing in sin. And so one of the problems that we have today is pornography as a substitute for essentially talking to women. So to stop watching pornography, you have to keep on talking to her. That's the best way. Just keep on talking to her. Even if you're away, you can still call her and talk to her and get rid of that thorn in the mind. Yes, and both man and woman must consent in every step in a relationship. You both must consent and then become one in the flesh. So today the use of condoms has reduced the spread of disease, but if one has multiple partners, the chance of getting a sexually transmitted disease goes up. So you must stay with one partner and wait to have sex intercourse until you are married. That's why you're not to have intercourse. This is also to prevent unwanted pregnancy before marriage. If you are boyfriend and girlfriend, you can become one in the flesh without intercourse, especially depending upon age. But after age 18, definitely, you have to stop watching pornography. So the best way to do that, keep on talking to her. So also, you must prevent the spread of sexually transmitted disease. And this is really important because your boyfriend and girlfriend, and if it doesn't work out, you go to the next partner, but you're not spreading that sexually transmitted disease. So if the fire burns out, you can move on and find another partner. So yeah, that's how you become one in the flesh. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I'll come out with more videos, and thank you.